Hi, Dr. Jonathon Isham here. Let's talk about inline citations for secondary sources in APA. So in your course, let's say you've got a textbook, and in that textbook, the textbook writer quotes another theorist or another author of some kind. So, and when you're writing your paper, you want to grab that quote from that other author and be able to put it in your paper. But how to cite that, that's a question. It's not really the author of the textbook saying those things. It's somebody that the author of the textbook put in there to say those things, hence a secondary source. You're not looking at the original source because the author of the textbook didn't say it. You're actually looking at a secondary source. The problem becomes, unless you want to go find that secondary source and read it yourself, it's really not a good idea to put that in your references section like you read it, because you didn't read it. You found that quote in the textbook. Now, you can put the textbook in as your reference in your references section. That's a good thing. But how do you connect this quote that you want, that you found in your textbook from another theorist? How do you connect that to the references down below? In a course that I teach, 535, Theories of Teaching and Learning, we have a textbook from Carey, 2014. And in that is a lot of great quotes from other educational theorists all the way back to the late 1800s, early 1900s. It's a great textbook. But the problem is some of those quotes, my learners want to be able to put in their papers, but Carey didn't say it, but you can't find that textbook from 1913. Ballard, actually, 1913. There's a great quote on page 31 of Carey that people use sometimes. And you have to attribute the quote to Ballard, but unless you can find Ballard's theory and thesis published in 1913, you're not putting in your references section, so you have a problem. And APA actually provides a good way to do this for citing secondary sources. It's called the as cited in. Let me walk you through how to use that with a quote, and then we'll talk about how to use that with a paraphrase as well. So I already mentioned that I want to use this quote, and this is from Ballard, published in 1913. Now, I got that from Carey, 2014. That's my textbook for my course. But Ballard said it in 1913. So we need to use Ballard as a signal phrase to let our readers of our papers know that this quote came from Ballard. But how do we connect that with our references section down below? Again, unless you go read Ballard 1913, you can't put it in your references section, but there still has to be a clear connection. And the way we do that is after your quote, you're going to put a page number, but we put something special in this because this is a secondary source. What we do in our citation at the end is, instead of just putting the page number, we put as cited in, and then we provide Carey 2014. So now your reader knows Ballard said it, but you got it from Carey 2014, and this corresponds to the references down in your references section. Because it's a quote, though, you also need, and I'm running out of space here, sorry about that, you also need the page number, but the page number is the page number you got the quote from your reference. So this quote is on page 31 of the Carey text. So we put page 31 in our citation. Another way to write this, you can actually put the Carey information in part of your signal phrase as well by just stating Ballard 1913, comma, as cited in Carey 2014, and then your quote. And then at the end, you're going to have to put your page number, 31, of Carey. But you can either list your as cited in as part of your signal phrase before your quote, or you can connect your quote to Ballard, and then in your page number or your location information, you can provide as cited in Carey 2014. If this was a paraphrase, if you're just paraphrasing Ballard, the only difference would be that you don't need your location data. So if you're just paraphrasing Ballard, you can say Ballard 1913 as cited in Carey 2014 suggested blah, 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 period, done. Or if this structure, Ballard 1913, and then the paraphrase here, and all you would need would be as cited in Carey 2014 and parentheses, period, and you're good to go. Now, in using this structure, your reader knows that this information came from Ballard, but you got it from Carey, and this Carey reference is the one that's corresponding to the reference in your references section. Hope this helps.